Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another Supatease video, and 10.0.7 is about to come out. This is the last patch of the first season of Dragonflight. This is the last opportunity to grab these limited edition rewards, and there has been quite a mix-up in terms of the power and potency of some specialization. So if you're looking to utilize what could be your strongest option right now to get these rewards, then this video of my top 7 PvP specs is going to be perfect for you, as well as just keeping up with the meta and everything going on, so you can start to prepare for what you're going to see come reset. So let's get started with our top 7 list here. The first specialization up is going to be the Beast Mastery Hunter. This is a specialization that just got some raw damage buffs, is already doing a tremendous amount of damage with things like kill command, being able to chunk out 100k kill commands while on the move. It still is fragile, but its ability to kite and be agile is definitely going to complement it. It's going to be a powerhouse in terms of just ease of play and damage output. I would definitely recommend it for a beginner if you're coming into PvP and looking to try and get as much as rating as possible. Having never played before, I think that Beast Mastery Hunter will be probably one of the best specializations for doing that. However, as you aim more towards the top end of the ladder, there's going to be other specializations that can outdo it, which is why it's only coming in at number 7. Moving into the number 6 position is a specialization that has fallen off a little bit, but not entirely, considering it's still making the top 7 list, and that is the Assassination Rogue. There was a tournament this weekend run by Team Liquid, and Assassination Rogue still made it to the finals, but a Rogue did not actually, in fact, win the tournament, and it seems like Rogues are a lot more fragile than a lot of the now much more powerful specializations, and other classes are able to do comparable or in some cases way more damage than them. It is still going to be highly potent, at least until perhaps 10.1 when blind is getting its reduction, but we're not at that point yet, and at that point I will have an updated list there for you guys to make sure that you're always ahead of the competition. But right now in patch 10.0.7, Assassination Rogue is about where it was before, but other specs are now maybe starting to outshine it a little bit more. Now in the number 5 position is the specialization that I really thought was still going to remain dominant, maybe be the best specialization overall, but it did seem like it had some struggles in the tournament over the weekend, and given the fact that it just got some nerfs just a couple of days ago, Subtlety Rogue is a specialization that I think might fall a little bit in terms of the leagues of damage output that we have been seeing. Now, Subtlety Rogue still going to be a really powerful specialization, again, until the 10.1 changes that could impact it a lot more than these upcoming ones. Still going to be focused all around secret technique. If you're a diehard Subtlety Rogue and you've been managing to make it work, I'm sure that you are still going to be able to make it work, but I'm not imagining we're going to be seeing nearly as many kind of reroll Subtlety Rogues, if we really even saw reroll Subtlety Rogues in the first place, but it is still coming in at the number 5 position on this list. Coming in at the number 4 spot is going to be the Retribution Paladin, and this is a specialization that got a complete rework. And one of the things that really was bolstered in this patch was its personal defensive capabilities. I was seeing many times the Ret Paladin get kidney shot with no bubble, getting death mark popped on them, and them just walking it off like it was nothing. Being able to get Shield of Vengeance and Divine Protection, having a wall when stunned, and this huge absorption effect outside of that, plus some added leech healing, plus some added instant cast healing, has made Ret Paladin way more durable. Seems like it's still being able to chunk people with its wings damage. That hasn't really gone anywhere for it. So it's all of the power that it had in the previous patch, plus being bolstered up in its defense for this patch. Now, finishing power seems like maybe it's fallen off a bit. I wasn't seeing, the Retribution Paladins closing out the matches as we moved through the tournament specifically. It was probably going to be some other specializations that are going to be on this list, but it was definitely a top contender, way better than it was before, but I wouldn't go into this expecting to be like, I don't know, Season 8 Wrath of the Lich King, Divine Storm spamming Ret Paladins, or pre-patch TBC into Wrath with Divine Storm Ret Paladins just like KOing people. I don't think it's that type of rework. You're just going to notice that you're not falling over like a wet noodle in most of your matches, and you're pretty sturdy now, which on top of the strengths that it had before that, it's going to be in a solid position. Now moving into the number 3 position is the Marksmanship Hunter, and this specialization is here just because of the raw amount of damage it can do. It can absolutely solo somebody. I watched Chun-Li in the tournament solo an entire team behind the pillar, proccing explosive shot with Death Chakram and proccing explosive shots with volley, with the talent salvo, and if enemies stack up during those explosive shots, you just absolutely tear a team apart. You'll be able to hard carry with this specialization in terms of offense. You will absolutely mow people down. You definitely need to get your hands on a Marksmanship Hunter. If you hadn't, if you've already been playing one, it's definitely S tier. It's not going anywhere. Defensively though, perhaps a little bit weaker, but again, with its agility, its ability to kite and avoid melees, with good positioning, I think that a skilled player will be able to abuse a Marksmanship Hunter very much so here in 10.0.7. Coming into the number 2 position is the Destruction Warlock. You might be surprised that it's not the number 1 position. Well, I'm also surprised because a specialization that is in that number 1 position is something that I really was not expecting. But Destruction, moving into this patch, even despite changes to its Bane of Havoc, is still just doing tremendous amounts of damage through instant casts. Chaos Bolt doing a decent amount of damage. Definitely not like the finishing power that it had in other expansions, but still pretty decent pressure output from the Destruction Warlock. One of the main weaknesses of it is just kind of like lockdown and control on top of its damage, because now the other specialization that's rivaling it is able to do the same amount, or in a lot of cases even more damage from what I had seen in the tournament. But it's still about exactly where it was in that last patch. It's just now another spec has leveled up beyond it. And what is that specialization, you may be wondering? Well, we are about to reveal it here, and that specialization is the Demonology Warlock. This one came out completely from left field. I thought that it was going to be strong, but not nearly as strong as it actually ended up looking in the tournament. And this is because some of its buffs that it's receiving to its pet damage, Valfiend and Felguard, getting some % damage increases, Demonic Tyrant as well. It just absolutely destroys people. I was watching a Felguard just soloing, tournament level healers behind the pillar. Like the amount of damage that Demonology Warlocks were able to put out in this tournament with that on top of the added control that they have was absolutely astronomical. I was completely thrown off. This was not a spec that I was expecting to see at the top list. I thought it would be strong, but definitely not at the top, but it 100% is at the top of the list and should be at the top of your list if you haven't. So if you maybe moved on from your Demonology Warlock previous to this patch, I think it's time to get that bad boy back up and running, because man, it looks like a lot of fun. It looks like a nasty amount of damage that's going to be able to pump out. And another specialization, which is maybe an honorable mention, it should probably honestly be on this list, but because I didn't really see it as much in the tournament, it was kind of tough to put it there. There was a couple times it got played, but it didn't really have good performances, and that was the Arms Warrior. So Arms Warrior is doing a lot of damage. It's some of the highest burst potential in the game with Colossus Smash, especially when you sweeping strikes it and apply it to multiple targets. Arms Warrior is definitely a spec that I think will be destroying the ladder, and I'm a bit wondering as to why it wasn't as successful in the tournament, because I really thought it was going to be very strong, but some of the best teams like Swapsy utilized the Ret Warrior and weren't able to see the amount of success that I was really anticipating them to see, losing to oddball compositions like Ret Paladins and Feral Druids in combination. So it's tough for me to put it on this list, given the fact that the other specializations made it further in the tournament. But on ladder, Arms Warrior's already got solid representation. It's still in a really confident position, and just because it's not on this top 7 list does not mean that it is not a phenomenal spec. There are so many great specializations that it's actually really tough to construct a list like this to which ones are the specific top 7. So if your spec didn't make the list, it does not mean that it is completely inviolable, unless of course you're an enhancement shaman, but even those guys might be doing decently well now in this patch. But we are not Demonology Warlocks, I will say that. I don't think anybody is a Demonology Warlock. This class is absolutely cracked, and if you're not playing one on 10.0.7, you're missing out on a free ride, I think. So thank you very much for watching the video today. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope this got you up to date now with the meta. Definitely was an important one for me to get updated here, because I was not expecting this. But if you want to make sure that you're always up to date, hit the subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.